What if I told you that Minecraft doesn't make sense? Let me explain. Number one. So if you guys do not know what Minecraft is a popular game that was created by Mojang and came out in 2009. Most game was mostly about you playing in a sandbox and doing all kinds of stuff, like going on adventures, mining for gold, emerald, diamonds. Well, that's not mostly about. So a sandbox is basically a server room where you could do whatever you want, where you could do whatever you want. But basically, there's been a weird theory that Minecraft was actually built from a, how it's been built in an outside dimension. Let me explain. So, have you always wanted to picture what, go back to time and ask the young Albert Einstein what space relativity has something to do with the whole expansion of time? Well, that's because there's one rule that is important. Basically, if you ask Albert Einstein, you'll just know that he'll reply the same question. He does not know, but he uses the formula, like, picture this. So, basically uses the formula E equals mc squared. So, like, what I mean, for example, like, look at the ground, for example. The ground is flat. Look at the sky is the sky, clouds, and the moon, the sun, mostly square. But then, the reason why Mojang did this is because they want to entertain kids under the age from 6 to 14, basically, which is a kid-friendly game. Well, basically, that doesn't end here. Basically, this is the add up to why basically it's built on an outside dimension. Well, if you look closely, right here, if you look closely, if you dig a block down, you'll see bedrock. Now, if you dig up the bedrock, this will take you to the end of the world. Not literally the end of the world, but if you look closely, you'll see there's the sun. That's how the sun goes up, because basically the sun goes down and doesn't do nothing but just stand there, while the moon goes down here. Now, what's down here is that if you press X, you'll lose all your progress and fall down, which takes you to the middle of nowhere. All there is bedrock that just preserves it from you going down. So you see how the sun is going up, and you see how the moon's coming down. Well, that's because it depends on the orbits. It depends on the orbits of the gravitational force. Like, for example, like Minecraft's been wanting to add a new DLC mod called the Black Hole Theory, which will suck all the players in by using gravitational pull and force. The reason why they're doing this is to test players see if they can actually fall down to the end of the world, where they lose all the progress. I'm not sure what the hell this is supposed to mean, but this remains a mystery. Number 2. So have you always wanted to build an automatic door instead of creating a door from scratch? Well, yes, you can. Basically, if you want to, you can actually use your own imagination to create a door. Basically, this is known when the game was officially released. It's called the Classic Jeb Door. So the Classic Jeb Door was not actually created by the man himself, Jed Ergenstein. It was created by a YouTuber to use so he understands the acts of fundamentals and he likes conceptualism to build his own dream home. So the Classic Jeb Door was actually added on the additions of Java and education. It's to motivate what they're trying to do and see if they can actually solve this. So basically, the Classic Jeb Door is actually a puzzle. Actually, not literally a build, literally a puzzle. So here's what I built for my Jeb Door. I used polished andesite, sticky pistons, redstone repeaters, and like redstone dust. Then I used emphasis stone for the doors, and I used a lever. Now here's the trick. Basically, the trick is that mine is offsetted when I flick the switch. I added some redstone on top here to see it'll work. So this is kind of like a Rubik's Cube, where you have to get all the colors on the same sides, like orange on the same faces, like you have to match all the colors up. Well, this is like this. So this is like the color like this. This is because Mojang is actually founded in Sweden. So basically, this is a Swedish game that's been designed. So for people like this is another trick. So a trick is you have to flip the lever and see if you get the pistons in the right category. Like try to get the pistons to move right there where the doors will move. Let's try this. So see, as I add a redstone there, it creates this. But if you delete the redstone on top of it, then if you basically press this right here, yeah, and if you press the lever again, it basically pushes up the pistons. Now, how are the doors capable of staying there by themselves? Well, you should know because it's been held up by here. pistons don't do what it is. The dot pistons don't do their job. Mostly do their job, but then the sides of it don't. Basically, this doesn't make sense. Basically, this is not actually a build. It's actually a puzzle to see if the player can actually build a jet door and actually open and close it. So this one doesn't make any sense as well. I call this shit work. Be right back. Number 3. So basically, there's been this going on wow thing about why the Herobrine got deleted. Where is Herobrine? I can't find him. Well, that's because Herobrine was actually created by a hacker, but it's not created by a hacker. It's created by the person Marcus Persson. He basically is part of Steve's dead brother. That's basically evil with no pupils. People have been trying to make the Herobrine totem the spawn of see if he's real or not. So basically, I grabbed some examples from this picture right here. So I pulled up my crafting table, and I noticed I need a few more items to do this. So I pull up my crafting table, and the first step I want to do is so basically the materials I grab is some rotten flesh, netherrack, and nether star. So the first part is take 4 of the rotten flesh and then put them on the corners. Something like this right here. Nextly, take the netherrack next, and then place them in the middle, not in the middle of the craft table. Place them like right here. What you see right here. Place them right there, and then add the nether star in the center. Yeah, and nothing. So I don't see what this experience is. I think this is just a hoax so they can fool players. So the easiest way is that we're gonna be building. So basically, there's also another experience where we could use with. We're basically using a mod which uses a case at least 8 bones and netherrack. Here's I'll show you for example in a minute. And see, nothing. No Herobrine. So I believe this is a mod. So this doesn't make sense that you cannot spawn Herobrine. It's a hoax. They're trying to play with you. Okay, number 4. Here's another weird one I want to talk about. There's another weird one I want to talk about is the disc records. So the disc records basically are resemble of what they sound like in the major studios. So I'm gonna go up to the records here. Basically, a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. So a total of 13 records that are basically new. So basically, we have the first one is music disc C41813. This one here is C418 cat, C418 blocks, C418 chirp, C418 far, C418 mall, C418 mellow high. It's don't get over it. How's C418 style, C418 strad, C418 word, C48111, C418 weight, and Lena Rain pig step. So there's been some new ones that have been added to the list. So I think, and there's also some new ones that Moji's been adding. So we want to basically we're gonna go ahead and grab our jukebox here, and then we're gonna grab We're gonna grab the items, the discs that we're gonna listen to. Now I'm not gonna be showing you what you'll basically get to hear them. So I put the jukebox down and I place the music disc. Just listen. Might have to turn this up a little bit. So you basically cannot. Basically, this is a number. You can't really make out what it means. Some of these don't make sense. Why Mojang added records, like record CDs in the game? I think it's just to know that the player is actually in the real dimension of a blocky universe. Okay, we're not. Okay then. Next is the music disc. This one's the cat one. So I guess because Minecraft basically has a few repetitions. I think the repetition of this is that it's like basically basic techno music. Okay, next one is blocks. So there's also another one that's like really dark. Okay, here's chirp. Yeah, mall. I'm not gonna play through the records because basically, because it's gonna be like a minute, like an hour long. Far, mellow high. Yeah. I grabbed them all by the same time. But now we left off. I think mellow high. I think mellow high. Yes, we'll need stall, strad, word, 11, wait, and the pig step. So we're gonna take that and we're playing style. Okay, strad. Yeah. Yeah. Here's word. So you can hear that the record sounds like. Okay, so you can hear it's cracked for something. Oh, it's not. So now here's the other one that's like really, really weird. Just listen. So basically, you hear this is a representation of someone digging blocks, but you can hear someone breathing. Just listen closely. Sounds like okay. So it sounds like a gun. I think it's like playing him coughing. So it sounds like. And look at the animal back there. I thought it was like reversing, but like the when I saw like a creeper and it's like gone. That's like a weird theory. So it sounds like he was pulling. Something was putting bullets in a gun, which sounds like a revolver because it has a cylinder chamber. It sounds like his heart. It sounds like his heart is beating really fast. So I guess. Okay, so I think that one is like a suicide message. But here's another one. Here's this one right here. Wait. No, I think the reason why wait, I think it means like. So okay, nothing weird. But here's the last one. This one is like also another one. It's like really weird. Okay, so those don't make any sense of what the song what these music discs are for. It's like really weird. All right, the next one is this one right here. This next one is so here's the next one. So for this next one, I'll be using an oak boat. So have you basically people have been spawning like oak boats on land, and here's this other one. They'll get in the boat. They'll literally do is they'll get on the boat, and how is this moving? Like, let me show you. So I thought this works in water, but now it feels like it's like on land. This doesn't make any sense unless it has something to do with the outside dimension. Okay, this one here leaves a mystery because I'm not sure why we're actually living on this one. Okay, number 6. So this other one here that I need to this other one here that I need to grab. So for this other one, I'll be taking an example of creating. Oh yeah, sorry guys. So anyways, this right here, next one I'll be taking is that I'll be taking a custom toolization of 64 regular arrows. So basically, I'm using the estimate tool of 64 arrows. Then the next thing I'll be using some observers. Some buttons, observers. Then I'll grab a sticky piston, redstone dust, block of redstone, and then for the last one, and I'll be using some redstone repeaters. So, also I'm stupid. So next I need to do is to grab a dispenser. So this is like another theory that basically upsets the thermodynamics of the game. So basically you're building an arrow launcher, and you don't know where to start, or have trouble deciding what to build. So an arrow launcher is basically another one that doesn't make sense. I mean, an arrow launcher like a bow and arrow does make sense, but when you're adding redstone, it does not. So it does make sense when you add to here. So here's the basic part. So dispenser, and I'll show you the example. So I take an observer, then I add a dispenser to it, and then basically to make it work, I'll just put in a CD, for example. I'll just take that, put a CD in there, and then I'll take the block of redstone, and then just watch this. It just launches it out. That's why I call it dispensers, because they launch out. But that's not the what part. This is another one that does not make sense. So basically, the player does is they take four, they create like what appears to be like a diamond shape with using four levers, 4 dispensers, and then what they do is that they fill the whole thing up. They fill all the dispensers up by using the minimum total of 64 arrows. And basically, what the compaction is that the arrows basically have an observable keep to them. So meaning that if the arrows have a new physics background that causes the arrows to go and fly everywhere, that's because you're creating what's called a supercharged arrow launcher, or a supercharged fire arrow launcher. That is basically what it means. So supercharged means that it goes forever, ever miles, and it's basically loaded with lots of arrows. Okay, so I have an estimate total of every arrow inside of here. Then I either take an observer, now here's the weird part. The weird part is that I do this. Yeah, I add redstone, and watch that. Are all my arrows still in there? Okay, one came out, but if I add redstone to it, or the best part is add redstone. Basically now, that's the most part. The most part is that if you add redstone to it, it just launches out. Here's another one. So here's what I did. So I added redstone torches on the dispensers. But the relativity fact that the basically part of this is that, look, by getting rid of the dispenser and adding a tick to it, by that you'll create what's called this. You'll delete the redstone torches on the dispensers and you'll replace them with redstone dust. And the harsh feeling is that you'll basically bring them down to what's called this, the oscillation field, or which you call it an XOR gate, which symbolizes that it's at a gate. It's not continue. But the relatively theory is that you'll extend those out more, and you'll place your repeater, which is also the gate. But you'll also be facing a different version. You'll be facing one facing outward and one facing to the redstone line. And then adding 3 more. And then adding the bit different. You'll add inward and outward, so it's like an opposite. And that doesn't end there. You'll do them on the same side as well. See? One, two, three. 1, 2, and 3. And then coming to the back here, same thing as well. Now, our message point is that the other one here, 2, 3, 2, 3, and then you'll be adding the same thing as well. So this one here, another one there, then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the same like this right here. So sorry, I'm not showing you because I have to build it. You're allowed to. And then, so you're basically creating an XOR gate, which is basically a non-linear, or I should say non-linear. And then just so here's what you're supposed to have. So if you basically create an XOR gate, this will happen if you put a redstone block of redstone inside of it. See, is by replacing this. It's by replacing the redstone. It doesn't do nothing but it shoots out correctly. But here's the backup point. The arrows basically are frozen. See? They're basically frozen due to the fact that they launch on the ground. The easiest way to that is basically collect all the arrows. But then we're gonna upgrade this. Sorry about that. Yeah. Anyway, so the next basically if you look at a chart diagram of what it's supposed to look like, it's supposed to look like with a redstone torch facing the opposite direction. Basically, if a redstone torch faces the opposite direction, then that will become parallel. Like this. This will light up, same with these right here. So it's like a little game right here. So if you place a redstone torch on the side here, this will light up these redstone repeaters, which is an inverse clock circuit. Now it's not a clock circuit because it doesn't go fast. It means that it's like a little game. So or if you basically delete this right here, delete the other redstone torch block, and that it'll just go back to normal. And that redstone torch won't do nothing. It'll just sit there. It'll just observe what's going on. So the key point is place them in the middle, and it should light up. Place them in the middle, like always. Like the closest part is to place them in the center, where all the redstone torches should light up. And for example, like this right here, place it right. If you can't place it too close, place it right there. Basically, this is like a challenge. Like this does not make sense. So basically, the middle part is that these corners do not light up. That's because that the fact that the physical results that cause the XOR gate to become a delay at a delay line is that the delay line will basically be extracted by just setting this to like at least further to at least 4 ticks for this one right here. So if you'd like to, for example, picture a radian circle. you divide these. Basically, you create what looks like an X. Then you want to divide these into quadrants. This right here, since I basically we'll look closely. This right here is, if you look at the first X right here, what we start on, this right here will be quadrant 2. So for this one, this will have 2 ticks to it. For the other half right here, this right here we did last. This will be quadrant 1, which we'll leave same. This right here, what we did earlier, this will become quadrant 3. Quadrant 4, I meant. And this last right here will become quadrant 3. We're basically taking the epilepsy so far into creating what we call this the devourment X, which basically symbolizes nothing but just shoots arrows out and just does redstone repeating clocks. This right here is the devourment X is basically designed to create a possibility of physical expertise that causes the arrows to fire out, but then it's a trick to do. Most people have been passed by IQ tests to basically solve what's going on. The example is that the arrows are still inside the dispenser and that they're just not trying to fire because due to the fact that we placed a block of redstone there, we need something more powerful. So for this, I'm going to upgrade this by using a sticky piston. Now, so I just fired out an arrow, but that's okay, don't worry about that. I'll have to refix this right here. So the main physical part of this is that I take a sticky piston, which is part of the build. The build is that you're resembling what's called a repeating flash momentarily. So if we unlock a code which causes the whole X to experience some physical intolerance with the redstone block into it, it'll connect more and more appearances. So by adding a redstone block to it, it will power on. But if you want to, here's another way. Take an observer. So take an observer, and then come to a block. Oh, it's a piano. Oh, the piano. It'll come to a block right there. Place the observer right there, and then it should close down. But here's the good part. If you turn off all of the redstone, if you raise all of the redstone torches that there are, so just delete every redstone torch, but the repeaters are still left on. That's a cable up because the redstone block right there is actually controlling the mine, but it's not even pushed in all the way. So here's a good. No, you see that again? I'll show you that again. So I take a redstone torch. And look, this is the devourment X. Watch it again. It creates what we call a pulse shortener that basically creates a devourment that allows us to have our own species that continue with the same derogatory. So what causes that the observers face the sticky piston, and sticky piston is getting more effective, and it restarts at that. So basically, the devourment X basically resembles that. It basically creates an XR delay line, and also creates more and more appearances. And finally, for the last one, sorry if this video is so long because I have been putting it down to put it on, and basically build the last one. So basically, the last one is another one that's like this one. So you always want to picture what it's like, what it feels like to go the stairway to heaven. Well, like when you die, you go march the stairway to heaven. Well, let me explain. You're not literally building the stairway to heaven. Basically, this is known as the reflection of reject. So the reflection rejects is basically what we call. It basically has not something to do with a mirror. It has something to do with it has something to do with a flashback parody of all psychological events happening. Like for example, like I grab myself a chain and a target, and I grab myself what appears to be, and I grab myself a bow and arrow or a crossbow, and I grab myself a spyglass. So next, the first part is I build up a target. So basically, the first part is I build my target now, and now if I use my spyglass, I have to pay attention right here. So this is a reflectional reject right here. It's by looking at the target right there. The main part is that you have to keep focus on the target. And see, you made it. But for example, if you get distracted by an animal or someone walking by, you missed it. But then you also score a point. Here's what the reflection reject is. The arrow doesn't actually stay in. It basically creates a charge where it feels like it's been broken. It's basically due to the fact that most delusional circuitry is that basically the arrow goes through the whole was supposed to go through the whole block. The arrow was supposed to go through the whole block, and that was supposed to create what feels to be an inward magic trick, like it's magnetic. So for the best part is that the chain here is that if a physical chain reaction by adding more chains to it, and adding another one on the top. Now here's another one. Another of this build is that if you look with the spyglass, you'll see it's too hard to complete because it's on top of the chains. You want to make that shot right there, right in the bullseye. So, for example, like, see the cursor, see the little plus sign right here, that indicates the cursor. Now, I'm gonna try to get through again. The main part is you stay focused on that red dot right there, and then let go, and let's see the results. Well, it appears that it hit the red bar. This is called a bent. Basically, this is bent due to the fact that I actually put my bow and arrow up to high, like I was like about to shoot the sky. It basically created what we call it an inverse bent function. That's because that the arrow is inside of it basically creates what we call outside, and basically has an outside polarity that basically causes it to go viral. So basically the reason why is that the arrow is stuck in there because of the fact of the whole chain reaction of using your arrow physics is that it's not literally going through the block. It's staying in there, so in case the person grabs it, they don't have to go get more arrows from their inventory. So another cool reaction is that if you want to build more, if you want to build like a, the next part is that I'm like building this other one right here. I'm building two on the same side, and you see there that arrow disappeared. In the last couple of seconds or like last minute or so, if you don't reach that arrow, it will disappear. So what I'm doing is I'm creating what I call this a chain buddy. Give me one sec, guys. So here's Mr. Chain Buddy right here. So wait just a second. So right here, this is Mr. Chain right here. He right here, or Mr. Target. So it's like a stick figure, for example. So the most part is that what I do now is I want to add more more here. So I'm gonna add more targets on here, and I'm gonna add a weird one. So yeah. So this is like an optical illusion. Real quick, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you in a second. But please bear with me. So basically, if it looks not look like a stick figure almost. Now here's an example. So the main goal is right here that this looks like what appears to be look like, which look. So right here, this is what an example it looks like. My goal is that I have to hit all those targets in this one right here. So when you hit the target, for example, like my main goal is that I want to make all those basically my sorry, I keep stuttering. So my main goal is that I want to hit all these targets within at least a minute and 37 seconds. See? And I hit all those red dots without missing. So here we go. I'll come back to you guys when I'm done. Okay guys, so I hit all the targets. Now let's take our spyglass and see what we have. Okay, for this one here, that basically ended up like right there. That is a total mistake. Now for the top one, it basically did not make it through. This right here did not make it through as well. This right here actually did make it through right here. Okay, I'll get that one here. This right here almost made it. Same with this one right here. This one did not. This right here did not. Same with this one right here did not as well. At least back to the corner. For the corner piece right here, this did not well. This did not as well. So basically, if you look closely, that I at least think I got 2 points. So the most part is that this build right here is too complicated when you have distractions around. But this is basically this also does not make sense with the arrows disappear. That's because with the whole reaction of the whole expansion, you'll create what's called an elliptical curse. So which means that what you're building does not defy the laws of Minecraft. And those are the 7, and right there, those are the 7 thoughts, 7 Minecraft builds that did not make sense. Minecraft theories that did not make any sense. But anyways, this wraps up for this video. Basically, sorry this video is so long. I tried to and sorry for my stuttering issues. That's all I can know. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.